Oh, hello, 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 and welcome to a new coloring adventure with CLAldridge Art. For those of you who might not know me, my name is Christine Aldridge. I am an artist. I do draw coloring books for a living, and I also have a YouTube channel. I come to you today with a new three-color adventure. We're going to do it, three-color palette adventure. We're going to do it with these Black Widows, since I have not used them for a while. We're going to be working in the best of CLAldridge Art Mandalas, or CLAldridge Mandalas. But before we do that, I wanted to show you what I finished last night. And this is, some of you may remember, if you watch my channel, that I had started this page initially for the HK5 project. I have finally finished it, and I don't know whether or not they'll use it, but I've turned it in, and I'm really, really pleased with the way that it turned out. I did it with Derwent Inktense, and when I left it, I think I had finished all of the leaves and the flowers, and I still had the bees and the butterflies and the background to do. And the background proved to be a little problematic for me, because I just kept dithering back and forth as to what I wanted to do. I started out down here in the corner testing out gray. I used charcoal gray in the Inktense set, and I thought, okay, well, I like that, but it's not really what I want. So over here, I switched to this more mustardy color, and I like that a little better. So I did all of this in mustard up to some natural breaking points here and here. And then as I was looking at it, it suggested that it wanted another rock, because by now I've decided that this is a rock. And it needed another rock over here to make it a rock garden. So these are vines that are growing over rocks in a rock garden. This is the sort of sandy colored path. This is a great big boulder that the vines are trying to climb up. And so that sort of settled it. I darkened it a little down here to represent shade from these pretty flowers. And I'm really, really pleased with the way it turned out. I went with a just single color wash. And this is the, what is it? This is the, oh, I know what it is. I had to sharpen one of my golds. And so rather than throw the little bits of ink pigment away, I used them to do the butterflies, and then just decorated them with black. Just kept it simple so that they would stand out. They're all three similar but not exactly alike, and I really like it. And then of course I zhuzhed it up with some, and I don't know if you can see that, but it's on the butterfly, or not the butterfly, but the bee's wings. I used the Zier sparkle pen and the silver one on the butterfly's wing, or the bee's wings, and I added a little bit of the Pentel hybrid golds to the tips of each of the little stamens, so that you can see them flash in the flowers. And I'm really, really pleased with the way that this came out. And I will be posting a picture of it to Instagram later today. So I've already plastered it all over Facebook. Okay. Now, on to this. I did do a little bit of preparation. The Black Widows, I am lucky enough to be blessed with all three tins. I do not have the skin color sets because I don't really need them. I honestly and truly do not color people. So therefore I have no need of the skin colored sets. But I do have, and I love all three of these sets. So they are the Scorpions, the Black Widows, and the Cobras. Each set is a set of 24 pencils. They are sold separately, and they come they look like this. They're black pencils. They have the names written on them. They have the numbers, and then the numbers tell you what set they go in. So SC stands for Scorpion, CB stands for Cobra, and BW, of course, stands for Black Widow. And together, so these are a tonal family. Together, they make up an entire set. Now, I am given to understand that someday they will put them all in one large set that you can buy, but for right now, I think that they are still only available in the 310 sets. Or, the 310s. And so now these are the swatches of the Black Widows. Now, I did not do super fancy swatches like I sometimes do with these. I just really wanted to see the basics of what the colors were. And so that is what I've done. And I have gone ahead and decided that for the project we're going to work on today, which is going to have 3 colors, those colors are going to be, well, let me go back to the beginning. Let's go where this is the page that I want to work on today. It is from my Mandalas book. It is the lead-off page after the name page. And this, by the way, is still doing quite well out there. Lots of copies being sold on Amazon. It's also available as a PDF in my Etsy shop. And the mandalas in it there's a walkthrough video. There's a link to that down below. This is a work in progress. Let's see. There's some finished ones in here. There's one. And there's another one back here, in case you haven't. See, that's the way with you need to actually mark these pages somehow. I used to tag them. Oh, come on, there it is. I was going to say, how could it get lost? So it's got lots of color on it. So I did that with Prismacolors and Distress inks and some white splatters. So we're going to work on this today. The 3 color sets are wine, blue, and gold. So looking at, kind of pay no attention to the names, although they're kind of cute. One's called Brown Bug, Burgundy, Watermelon, Zephyr Blue, Aquarius, Blue Heaven, Mustard, Nugget, and Gold. Black Widow did get very creative with their names, but there are 3 shades of wine, which are basically a burgundy red, 3 shades of blue, a very dark blue, a medium blue, and a light blue, and 3 shades of gold. And the numbers are all written down here. If you want to write those down, if you have these, I'll hold it right there so you can or stop the push pause and write down those colors. Otherwise, I am going to stick this on the next page so that we know where it is, but otherwise get it out of the way. So I am going to flip over, back out just a second. There we go. I am going to flip over my book, and just so that I can turn it and color and yak without having to worry about the other end of the page sweeping stuff off my desk, because that often happens. And these are, of course, the pencils that I chose. There are 3 color sets. There are 9 pencils. And off to the races we go. I will be right back. If you like what you see, please do like and subscribe to my channel. And you may also follow me on social media. I'd love it if you did, as a matter of fact. CLAldridge Art on Facebook. I also have a coloring group, a fan coloring group that is in my description below. I am on Instagram and I am on Twitter. Be right back. Well, hello everybody, and welcome back. This is an experimental video of sorts, in that I have stripped out the original audio and sped up the coloring portion of this, and I'm going to do a voiceover for the very first time. First, to find out if I can do it, if I have the technical skills, and secondly, because it went a little long. It took a long time to color this, as far as I do color it, and it got off to a bit of a rocky start right from the beginning, and so so I thought that I'd better shorten it up a little bit, and hopefully make it a little more fun for you to watch. What I'm doing here is I've got my 3 tones of blue, and I am about to basically lay down way too much color before I start blending it out. And it's going to get a little bit muddy on me right at the beginning. It does get better, but it looks a little funny. One of the problems that I have is that I lose at a certain point in time. I lose the different layers of those 2 petals, and so I have to actually end up getting that back. And then I do a second flower, and I do it slightly differently. And at this particular point, it is very tough for me to see that this is actually going to turn out to be a very wonderful color palette. I do almost give up on it after the second blue flower, but I stuck with it, and in the end I did wrestle it into submission. But it was a pretty funny journey, at least for me, getting there. Now, right now, it looks pretty good, and if I'd had the sense to stop right there and blend it, I'd have probably saved myself a world of hurt. But in the end, I do like the depth of the color that I get, because I'm about to go for more layers. And now these are the Black Widows. They are a very soft pencil, and they're very creamy, but they blend well together with a blender. But on the, I don't know if it's just the Amazon paper or if it also is going to be the same on the more expensive papers, the pencils themselves have difficulty blending together. They blend with a blender pencil, and they would probably blend beautifully with a solvent. Now, I don't happen to have any solvent, um, but uh, but they do end up blending really pretty with a blender pencil. And actually, I think if I'd have stopped right here as well, I'd have been okay. But I do end up putting, I think, another layer even after this one, and that's where I start to lose it. So if you are going to use these pencils, and once again, it's not the pencil's fault, it is the user's fault if something doesn't work. And it looks like my screen has frozen. Ah, okay. All right. So I apparently made a cut right there. And I also took the opportunity to do a petal a different way on another flower. So there must have been an edit in the original video that I made there. Now that second one is looking a little better. I'm thinking, okay, well, I've solved the mystery, cracked the mystery on this, but the more I blend this particular flower together, the more I like it. And I will go back in with even more of the dark blue and pull out those layers once again. And that's what I'm talking about right there, is the fact that I've lost the difference between the two layers. But that is a matter of contrast. And so there you can see I'm adding in some more contrast, and it's giving me the layers back. And that is what I wanted. I'm also putting a fair amount of pressure down on the paper with that blue pencil, which is why I've gone ahead and put the plastic sheet in behind it, just so I don't dent the pages underneath. Because what'll happen is if you dent the pages underneath, then if you go to use pencils on them, you'll see that line, and it becomes very difficult to blend out. Now, okay, so that was an okay save. So now you can see I'm going to go about this flower a little differently. I'm starting first with the dark on the outside instead of to the inside of the petal, and I'm liking it so far. This one I'm about to overblend, so you know that particular petal. It's been a while since I've had the Black Widows in my hands, and it's, you have to train yourself to use them. And of course, I just came off of doing a video, one video with ink tints and another video with water markers, and so I'm a little out of practice with my pencils. And it takes me until this flower to really get the hang of it back in, of how the Black Widows work. And because they're glorious pencils, and they're soft. And what I like about them is that right now, where it's too warm to use my Prismacolors, it's not too warm to use the Black Widows. And they do seem to hold up nicely, as did the Deli pencils. You know, the Delis are oil-based. I think that the Widows are wax-based, but just that tiny bit harder than a Prismacolor, so that they take a point and they don't break off when it gets warm, like my Prismas do. And I am really liking these shades of blue together, though. I think I did really, really well, with the dark blue. It's hard to say. I'd say that, if I had to pick a standard color equivalent to the Zephyr blue, which is the darkest, it would probably be the indigo in most sets. Although the indigo might even be a little more dark. But I think that the Aquarius, which is the more turquoise color pencil, not the lightest, but the middle one, it still looks pretty dark, just the lead sticking out of the pencil. But I think it's really the savior here. That's the one right there, is that middle shade. And then the lighter is really the thing that stores or restores the balance and gives that visual interest of a lighter petal. I'm a little heavy-handed, uh, but in the end, it's going to end up working out okay because I want a lot of pigment. I want it to be a rich, saturated color. Um, it takes me a while to figure out how the pencils work again. So, but eventually I do get there. But it was painful to watch, and it was painful to listen to as I was watching the first bits of video that I put together, edited together. I'm like, oh no, I've got to edit. I've got to take the sound out of this and do a little voiceover. I can do better than that, and hopefully be far more entertaining for all of you. Uh, and of course, I am not a fan of speed coloring, but I think that it's not sped up so far that it is bad. Hang on. Excuse me. Once again, the weather is beautiful here in Virginia, but it has rained a couple of nights in a row, which means that the molds are once again high. You know, when it's warm and wet, lots of molds come up, and molds have a tendency to make me a little wheezy on top of everything else. So I apologize if I'm excessively sounding like I constantly need a drink of hot water. Now these are the golds, and there's three shades actually of yellows that I'm using here to make these golds, and none of them is very dark. And so I am about to reach for a darker pencil, but not just yet. This is the Burgundy Jewel, and the colors here are the brown bug, the burgundy, and the watermelon, of all things. And I do zoom in so you can see that a little bit better. Um, and a sharp point is really important. When you're doing a jewel like this, uh, and you're working with using white space for your highlight as opposed to a Posca or something like that. Now, obviously, you can straight color these and then put put your highlight in with a Posca. Uh, Either way is fine. I like to blend my gems so that they look like glass. All right, now this is where I'm going for the darker shade, and I'm actually going to choose the stink bug. And great name for that one. But it's a slightly darker gold. It's still not what I ultimately am going to want though. I think what I'm going to really want for back there is is a brown, but I didn't want to introduce a brown yet uh, because that's really the contrasting bumps that I'll do. And I am working with a three color palette, so I want to see what I can actually achieve just actually sticking with those three colors. Although normally in a three color palette, you are also using whatever your background color is. So in this particular case, it's white. I found a little later on in the video that white wasn't what I was going to want. So I did add a fourth single color, single pencil. And when we get to that, you'll know. And I color the background, basically, of all of this with that single color. And it is really the thing that sort of elevates it from a good color palette to a particularly good color palette. I have to admit, I am very happy with the progress on this particular one. So I'm just coloring in those little jewels now. I've got the little blue pearls. I use the darkest blue. I just colored the little red one just using the burgundy. Tiny spaces, single color. Um, and now I'm going to start on this bow. Now this bow takes an inordinate amount of time, this first one, because I'm gonna really work this baby, and it is going to because I'm really experimenting with a small space and seeing how much I can actually do with it. Ultimately, it's just a bow, and and it wouldn't matter if you straight colored it and then put maybe some glitter gel on top of it or whatever, but I'm playing with the light and playing with the highlight on it and using my colors for all they're worth, and the stink bug, the burgundy, and the watermelon, and trying to make it basically into a little fancy bow. uh, I'll, it pretty much, it works, but it just takes an awful lot of time. And of course, this kind of coloring uh, does take time. And I think that it is part of the time that it takes is the blending. And the blending is a really important step. Oops. I love that. That pre-recorded part of it ended, and I was still just yakking away. So that'll be definitely something to watch out for. This, by the way, is as far as I have gotten with this since I ended that video. It is currently about 11 o'clock in the morning on Saturday, and so I don't really remember where that video ended, but I was talking about the guest artist. And so if you have a guest artist that you would like to see me color from, please do say so. Also, if there's a particular medium that you would like to see me use, please let me know there as well. So I will continue working on this, and I will continue to bring you updates on how it is looking. But I am really, really liking it. Just a couple of little changes that I made from the video are I made the center flowers, the center of the flowers, I made the little burgundy pearls. And I think I bumped the contrast on this flower, and I still have to do it on these two, but I just finished these along with these two bows. So, and I think I just finished these as well. So my little blender pencil is getting a workout. I can plainly see that I need to order some more of those. Anyway, I hope that you've enjoyed this demonstration with the Black Widow pencils. And if there are links to my books, to the Black Widows, and to the other things that I discussed here in the video down below, along with all of the other links. So until we meet again, hopefully on Sunday, please color something pretty. Bye, everybody.